What is the true sound of power? Is it the earth-shaking rumble of a 50-ton steel behemoth, its tracks grinding the earth to dust, its massive cannon a promise of annihilation? The roar of a diesel engine so powerful it can be heard for miles before it even crests the horizon? This is the sound the world had come to fear. The sound of the German superweapon. A sound designed to paralyze with terror. Adolf Hitler was obsessed with this sound. He was a man seduced by scale, by the monolithic, by the theatrical display of absolute power. He didn't just want to win the war, he wanted to win it with a statement. He demanded bigger tanks, colossal tanks, machines so vast and so terrifying they would crush the enemy's will to fight before a single shot was fired. He dreamed of the Panzer VIII Maus, a 188-ton land battleship, a monster so heavy it could not cross a bridge. He sketched the Landkreuzer P.1000 Rat, a 1,000-ton fantasy with naval guns, a tank the size of a city block. These were his Goliaths, his expressions of a philosophy, that power is concentrated, singular, and awe-inspiring. But what if that philosophy was a catastrophic miscalculation? What if the true sound of power in the 20th century wasn't a deep-throated roar, but a high, relentless, industrial screech? The shriek of a million rivet guns. The whine of countless welding torches. The deafening, chaotic symphony of a shipyard working 24 hours a day. Because while Hitler was hunched over his drafting table, obsessing over the perfect, invincible 50-ton tank, a different kind of general was at work on the other side of the ocean. His name was Henry J. Kaiser, a man who had never built a ship before the war. And his weapon wasn't a single, perfect masterpiece. It was a flood. A deluge. An avalanche of steel. He wasn't building 50-ton tanks. He was building 15 million tons of disposable ships. In a single year. This is the story of a clash of two gods. The god of monuments and the god of the assembly line. It is the story of how the quest for perfect singular power was defeated by the relentless, unstoppable force of mass production. To understand Hitler's obsession, we must go to the Wolf's Lair, his Eastern Front headquarters in 1942. The war is turning. The initial, stunning success of the Blitzkrieg is over. The vastness of Russia is swallowing his armies. The Soviet T-34 tank is proving superior to his Panzer IIIs and IVs. Hitler's response is not tactical or logistical. It is psychological. He is enraged. He feels betrayed by his engineers. He doesn't just need a better tank, he needs an invincible one. A tank that is not merely a vehicle, but a symbol of National Socialist will, made manifest in steel. He turns to his top engineers, Ferdinand Porsche and others. He doesn't ask them what is practical. He demands what is magnificent. He speaks of war-winning weapons. He wants frontal armor so thick no enemy shell can penetrate it. He wants a gun so powerful it can destroy a fortress from a mile away. The result is a series of technological marvels and logistical nightmares. The Tiger I, a 57-ton beast that is indeed a terror on the battlefield. But it is also fantastically complex. Its interleaved road wheels, designed for a smooth ride, freeze solid in the Russian mud. It guzzles precious fuel. It breaks down constantly. It is so heavy it requires a special, even heavier transport train to move it. Building one is a slow, painstaking process of craftsmanship, like building a Swiss watch the size of a house. And this is just the beginning. The Tiger leads to the Panther, a better tank but still complex. And then the ultimate expression of Hitler's philosophy, the Panzer VIII Maus. The Maus. A cruel joke of a name for a 188-ton colossus. Its prototype is so heavy it cannot use any bridge in Europe. It is designed to ford rivers by driving along the riverbed, using a snorkel to breathe. It is the ultimate monument, a mobile fortress. But it is also a fantasy. Only two are ever built. They are the ultimate expression of a system that prizes the perfect over the practical. The German war machine is becoming a museum of military curiosities, each one a masterpiece, but each one draining precious resources, time, and industrial capacity. They are building Goliaths. But a new kind of David is being born in the shipyards of California and Oregon. And this David doesn't need a sling. He has a welding torch. Now let's travel to a place that looks nothing like a battlefield. The Richmond shipyards in California. The noise is deafening, not with explosions but with construction. The air smells of ozone from welding and fresh-cut steel. The scale is almost impossible to comprehend. It is a city dedicated to a single purpose, building ships. Not as individual vessels but as a commodity. At the heart of this revolution is a man who seems to be the antithesis of a German arms minister. Henry J. Kaiser. He is not a military man. He is a businessman who made his fortune building the Hoover Dam and the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge. He sees problems not through the lens of tactics, but through the lens of project management and efficiency. When he is asked to build cargo ships for the British and later the American war effort, he looks at the process and sees insanity. Ships are traditionally built one at a time, laid down on a slipway with parts fabricated elsewhere and brought to the vessel. It is slow, artisanal and completely inadequate for a world at war. Kaiser does something radical. He doesn't build ships. He builds a ship factory. He applies the lessons of the automobile assembly line to the most complex moving object humans built at the time. His innovation is prefabrication. Instead of building a ship from the keel up, his yards build sections of the ship, the hull, the deck, the bulkheads, in massive workshops. These sections are then lifted by enormous cranes and welded together on the slipway. It is like building with giant, pre-made Lego blocks. The result is a statistic that defies belief. The British, masters of the sea for centuries, took 6 months to build a single cargo ship. At the peak of his efficiency, Kaiser's yards could lay the keel for a new Liberty ship, and launch it the next day. The record, set at the Oregon Shipbuilding Corporation, was for the SS Robert E. Peary, laid down on a Monday, launched that Saturday, 4.5 days from start to finish. Let's pause on that. A 10,000-ton ocean-going vessel, built in less time than it takes for a letter to cross the country. This was not a fluke. This was a system. And the ship itself was a perfect product of that system. The Liberty ship was the anti-mouse. It was not beautiful. It was not a masterpiece. Sailors called them ugly ducklings. They were slow, making only 11 knots. They were made of welded steel, which could become brittle in the cold North Atlantic. They were, by every measure of naval tradition, inferior. But that was the point. Kaiser and the Americans had embraced a new, terrifying form of warfare, the war of attrition applied to industrial production. A Liberty ship was not meant to be invincible. It was meant to be expendable. The official calculation of the U.S. Maritime Commission was that if a Liberty ship could make just one successful transatlantic crossing, delivering its cargo of tanks, planes, or food, it had paid for itself. Everything after that was profit. They were disposable. They were a one-use item in the grand strategy of global logistics. This is the first stunning surprise of our story, the shift from the quality of a weapon to the throughput of a system. While Germany was building a handful of perfect, irreplaceable tanks, America was building a fleet of thousands of replaceable, almost sacrificial ships. But building them was only half the battle. The other half was getting them across an ocean that was actively trying to destroy them. And this is where the second and perhaps more dramatic clash of philosophies would occur. The Atlantic Ocean, 1942. This is the true battlefield. It is not a field in France or a forest in Russia. It is a vast, gray, freezing wilderness where the real struggle for Europe is being decided. German U-boats, hunting in deadly wolf packs, are sinking Allied merchant ships faster than they can be built. The situation is desperate. The lifeline between America and Britain is being severed. Admiral Karl Donitz, the master of the U-boat arm, understands this war of tonnage. His goal is simple: sink more ships than the enemy can build. He is confident. He believes he is fighting a battle of arithmetic against a slow, traditional shipbuilding industry. He is counting the tonnage he sends to the bottom of the sea, and he is winning. What he does not know, what he cannot possibly comprehend, is that the arithmetic has changed. The equation has been broken. In a single month at the height of the U-boat onslaught, the Germans might sink 50 ships. A devastating blow. But in that same month, American shipyards, led by Kaiser's revolution, are launching 140. The graph lines are about to cross in a way that will shock the German high command. The rate of construction is about to surpass the rate of destruction. This is the second catastrophic surprise for the Axis. They are no longer fighting a navy, they are fighting a mathematical certainty. They are trying to empty an ocean with a thimble, while their enemy is using a fire hose to fill it back up. Every time a U-boat captain sends a Liberty ship to the bottom, he feels a surge of victory. But in the grand strategic picture, he is wasting a torpedo, fuel, and time to destroy what his enemy considers a disposable item, an item that is already being replaced by 2 more sliding down the slipways back in America. The psychological impact of this is zero on the American side, and devastating for the Germans. They are achieving tactical victories while hurtling toward strategic bankruptcy. The Liberty ship, this ugly, slow, mass-produced tub, becomes the unsung hero of the war. It is the vessel that carries the fuel for Patton's tanks, the ammunition for the infantry, the food for the civilians, and the very foundation of the D-Day invasion. Without this unending river of steel and supplies, the heroic landings and battles would have been impossible. The Mouse tank, by contrast, never fired a shot in anger. Its two prototypes were scuttled at the end of the war, pathetic testaments to a philosophy of power that was as brittle as the massive steel plates on its hull. So, what is the true lesson of the 50-ton tank versus the 15 million tons of ships? It is a lesson about the nature of power in the modern world. Hitler, the artist, saw power as a sculpture, a single, perfect, imposing object meant to inspire awe and terror. It was power as a monument. Kaiser and the American industrialists saw power as a process, a relentless, repeating, scalable system. It was power as a river. The monument is static. It can be studied, admired, and eventually bypassed or toppled. The river is dynamic. It wears down obstacles over time. It adapts its course. It cannot be stopped by a single barrier. The German war machine was ultimately a collection of magnificent monuments. The Tiger tank, the V-2 rocket, the Mouse. Each one a testament to engineering genius, but each one a drain on a system that was being bled dry. The American war machine was a river of standardized, good-enough products. The Liberty ship, the Sherman tank, the Jeep, flowing from factories that had perfected the art of plenty. It was a system that could absorb staggering losses, learn, adapt, and simply outproduce any problem. This is the ultimate haunting legacy of this clash. It teaches us that in the 20th century, and indeed in our own, the most formidable force is rarely the perfect, singular breakthrough. It is the robust, adaptable, and overwhelming system. It is not the genius of the lone inventor in his lab, but the coordinated effort of millions, organized into a machine of breathtaking productivity. Hitler designed 50-ton supertanks, dreaming of a single war-winning blow. He never knew that America was building 15 million tons of disposable ships, because he was looking for a dragon to slay, while his enemy was building a new world, one welded steel section at a time. And in that new world there was no place for his monuments. They were simply buried by the tide.